now we'll discuss about the non-clinical summaries and non-clinical study reports. Now, non-clinical regulatory documentation. So it includes the summary documentation documents for regulatory submission. Means when we discuss about the CTD, so CTD it consists of 5 modules. Okay, so module number 1, which is related to administrative information, which is it depends upon region to region that what information will go in that module. Then module number 2, it contains overall summaries and overviews. Okay, so it contains more quality overall summary. Okay, so it has 5 sections. So first section is related to QoS, which is known as quality overall summary. Okay, and module number then 2 sections are related to non-clinical overview or non-clinical summaries, and the other 2 sections are related to clinical overview and clinical summaries. So clinical overview and clinical summaries are generally written by the medical writers, but non-clinical overview and non-clinical summaries are not written by the medical writers. But just for your understanding purpose, we will be discussing this over here. Generally that is written by the regulatory professionals. Okay, so the non-clinical regulatory documents, it requires, like when you are submitting the documents for marketing purpose, like when you're submitting that CTD dossier for drug registration purpose, and when you're submitting the application for getting the permission for marketing, so in that you have to submit the summary documents for regulatory submissions. And it contains the study reports with original data, means the preclinical study reports which contains the original data, and various regulatory documents which are presented during the life cycle of a compound. So all other regulatory documents, like all other reports related to the drug development process, and not the drug development process exactly, but the documents which are related to clinical research process, like especially the clinical study reports, non-clinical study reports. So all these documents are required to be submitted at the end when you're submitting, when the marketing authorization holder, they want to submit, they submits the document for getting for registering the drug for the marketing purpose. So with this, along with the CTD dossier, all these documents are required to be submitted. So first, the non-clinical information that is given in the investigator's brochure. So investigator's brochure briefly describes the summary of all clinical relevant pharmaceutical, non-clinical and clinical data about a compound. Detailed guideline can be found at ICH E6, which is to be submitted during the clinical trial application and IND. So in investigator's brochures, in the next module, when we will discuss about the investigator's brochure in detail, then you will understand that in which part the details about the non-clinical procedures or the preclinical studies which are conducted. So in detail, you have to mention about that what all studies are being conducted, what are the species which are being tested during the non-clinical, during the clinical trial, preclinical trial process, what is the result which is obtained, what are the adverse effects which are seen during the clinical, non-clinical studies or preclinical studies. So that you have to mention in the investigator's brochure. The next is non-clinical common technical document, that is CTD module number 2. So in module number 2, CTD module number 2, module number 2.4 and module number 2.6, that is related to clinical overview and clinical summaries. Detailed guideline can be found in ICH M4S guidelines, that I will show you when we will discuss about the CTD module, that how you can get access to these ICH guidelines. Okay, and these include following sections which comprising an integrated summary of findings. So section 2.4, which contains non-clinical overview. So it contains an integrated analysis of non-clinical program, whatever studies which are conducted during non-clinical testing, what is the strategy which is used, what are the conclusions which are obtained from the non-clinical testing or the preclinical testing, and so that the drug can now be used on the basis of the information which is obtained. On the basis of that, it is decided that information can be, that this drug can be used further for the testing of drug on humans, and also for what is the use of, what is the safety and the drug therapeutic use. And all that information is also submitted when the marketing approval is required, and also if any preclinical studies are conducted and now this IND is submitted for the drug which is having any new indication or something. So if any information which is available from the preclinical studies, or from the current studies which are conducted, so that information you have to submit. So at both the times, like when you are submitting the application for marketing approval, as well as when you are submitting the application for conducting the human clinical trials, for getting the permission for conducting the human clinical trials. So at both the times, you have to submit the information which you have obtained from the IND application, from the marketing, from the information which you have got from the marketing, from the preclinical studies which are conducted. The next is the non-clinical common technical document module number 2. So module number 6, 2.6 is also related to non-clinical information. Okay, so detailed guidelines can be found at ICH M4S guidelines, which I will show you. So these include following sections comprising an integrated summary of findings. Like section 2.6.1 is related to non-clinical introduction, which contains a brief summary of pharmaceutical structure, what are the pharmaceutical properties of a drug, in what clinical use the compound can be used, and what is the intended use of the compound. Okay, and this information is to be submitted. All this information is to be submitted during the marketing approval as well as the time of submission of IND. Then section 2.6.2, 2.6.4 and 2.6.6 is related to non-clinical summaries. So high-level summaries of pharmacology, pharmacokinetics, and toxicological data, which is obtained from the preclinical studies, the various preclinical studies which were conducted, which I have told you already. What are the principal findings? So discussion and conclusion of all those findings is given in this section. Then section 2.6.3, 2.6.5 and 2.6.7, which contains non-clinical tabulated summaries. So these summarized, so now the same summary is presented in the tabular form for better understanding, okay, with no interpretation. So this section provides a summary of pharmacology, pharmacokinetics, and toxicology data in the tabular form, okay, and the information is to be submitted during marketing approval and IND, same.